make the strings.
Hi guys, we are back in the shop this evening, and we are taking a look at the Civic, trying to figure out a couple things that it actually needs. And then the plan is from there, I'm going to go ahead and start doing, you know, some sanding, some body work and stuff like that. Just some minor stuff tonight. I don't think I'm going to be able to get too far, but kind of in order to, I feel like, see all these areas and, you know, low spots and imperfections in the bodywork. Somebody kind of already marked it out. Basically, this is exactly how I got the body on this car. I have not touched it, I haven't sanded it, I haven't did anything with it. This is all body work that's already been done, and so you can see somebody kind of marked like some low spots. You can see right there, it's got some texture right there, so that is a low spot, and you know, high spot right here, high spot, you know, basically stuff like that. Looks like the whole roof has been body worked. If you look on the inside, it might be hard to tell, so we'll do it like that. You can see those are all like hell dents in the roof, so the roof has definitely had a little bit of body work on it, and I don't think they actually sanded that to figure out, you know, how low or high it is. You can see the texture of this stuff. See, okay, yeah, that is the texture of the roof right there. So so pretty crazy. You can see that's a decent low spot right there, or at least a low spot in the primer. And yeah, so we are planning on leaving sometime early this next, or mid to late next week. We're thinking Wednesday, but probably have to be Thursday because we have some stuff coming in for Larry. So yeah, before we can make the trip, I have, you know, some wheels and tires, some other little stuff, and so yeah, I guess a little bit of bodywork stuff. I'm going to show you guys some of the wiring on this car, and I guess maybe get a little bit of input whether or not I should actually keep this harness. So you can see these are some RC injectors. I definitely think I'm going to need to get a little bit bigger ones. I kind of want to upgrade this turbo. So this is a eBay like GT30 style size T3, T4, whatever turbo. It has a 6.3 AR exhaust housing with a T3. It has a just kind of a cheaper cast manifold that is on there. I went ahead and I ordered a different throttle body today, so I should be able to hook up the, you know, the stock, or the Y8 intake manifold, the D16 Y8 intake manifold, are a little bit better than the Y6. So I should be able to hook that up on here. What else? So you can see the wiring harness. It kind of goes down there and goes right here. There's also a bit of it that goes inside the cabin right there. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull this thing off the lift, roll it back a little bit. I did go ahead and tighten up these wheels, just the axle nut on there. But I do need to pull out some of the trim and other things like that. But yeah, I definitely would like to get this thing primered probably tomorrow. And I'm trying to decide what to do with this rear bumper too. Maybe I'll keep this bumper. I don't know, maybe not. I don't really like this. This is kind of weird looking. I could get like a plate or something to cover that, but honestly I might just go ahead and delete that. You could see somebody's cut out this for like those speed plates and put kind of a you know, like a connecting rod tow hook right here. I'm not a super big fan of that. I mean, I guess it kind of depends on what I end up doing with the car. But a long time ago, see that red bumper up there is actually a Civic rear bumper for this thing. A lot of people were curious about this rear window. So you can see it's basically been primered on it. And so it doesn't have the glass, and then back here in the office, I basically have a new windshield. I believe it's a new windshield. New back glass, the side glass, all that stuff. So you can see this stuff's been sitting in the shop for a long time. Yeah, I think I have two rear glasses for it. And then, which this one is brand new and it's been tinted already. And then these are the side glasses. These are little quarter glasses. So that's, I guess, pretty much that as far as the glass situation. Let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to get it off the lift and we'll start looking at it, pulling some of the parts and stuff out of the inside and kind of see exactly what I need to order. Go from there. so this is the inside of the Civic. Obviously the dash was really bad, had a bunch of like tons and tons of dust and slash overspray and all that stuff in the back. Basically it looked like that back there. See, it's all dusty, and I mean this thing is just, it's crazy how dusty this thing is, just because it's been sitting open for like 5 years or so. So you can see there's a little bit of mouse poop on the ground right there. There's a little bit of stuff in there I sprayed in there with some like the greaser stuff. Basically just kind of trying to clean up the inside of this just a little bit and make it so it's kind of, I can kind of see what I'm working with here. So you can see they brought in the engine bay fuse box and brought that inside. You can see that they relocated the battery. When I got the car, it had a chipped P28 on like a chrome base map. Since this is a 96 car, it is OBD2. So it has this little jumper harness right here from OBD2 to OBD1, and this is a PR4 ECU. Then you can see it's socketed, chipped and socketed, and has the Hondata S300 version 2, which is a really awesome awesome platform. Basically, like it pretty much turns like a stock Honda like P28 or like a VTEC ECU or even like a non-VTEC ECU. You could solder some stuff in it and basically turn them into it. But it basically turns them into like almost a full standalone. It's crazy the amount of parameters and settings and all the stuff that you could actually mess with on the stock ECU. Even like the Boosted Boys and stuff, like most of their cars, I mean, I'm pretty sure, yeah, I mean, all of his cars are actually on Hondata, basically on the stock ECU. So that's really cool. It's an awesome platform, and definitely saves a lot of money versus going standalone. You don't have as many adjustments and parameters as you do with a full standalone, but it is crazy how much stuff you actually can do. People have actually converted these Honda ECUs to run on like KAs and SRs and stuff like that. I even think people take like Honda AEM boxes and put them on like 2Js and stuff like that. But yeah, so the dash is doing all right. It's not the greatest, but it definitely looks a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and vacuum in here, and I'm gonna kind of try and look at the wiring, see more so what we're dealing with. I'm almost leaning towards just trying to clean it up myself versus spending like $500 on a wiring harness. You can see right here, we have a little bit of light. You can see how it's coming in right there. I mean, I guess there's not a jillion butt connectors. There's a couple butt connectors, but I don't know. It might honestly be all right. I really don't like that that's right underneath the gas pedal, but if I moved it up underneath kind of the more of the like the fulcrum up there, it probably wouldn't affect it as much. And I think this pretty much stuff right here is just for the injectors for the resistor box. I think some of this other stuff is you know, more so different harness stuff. But yeah, the other thing is, since they brought they basically tucked all the wiring up here too, so you can see this wiring actually goes through the frame rail right there, and for the headlights, so it's up and out of the way instead of being, you know, kind of more open, more. I believe it goes right here, but kind of forgot. I haven't messed with Hondas in a long time, yeah. So I guess I'm gonna vacuum it real quick and then start sanding on the outside a little bit, and see where that goes. I definitely want to vacuum up this mouse poop, get all that crap out of there. I just found the grill. I was looking for that. This is like one of those like $14 like eBay SI grills, which make the whole front of these things just look way better than the stock grill. I was digging in the trunk. I found a ton of the interior parts. So you can see this is kind of the center console trim thing. That's the actual like armrest guy. It does have some stuff, weird stuff. Not really, I guess, super weird, but it has like some action figure, cartoon themed, like wrapped stuff in there. Same thing with the headliner. The headliner way up there is like wrapped in that like, that's like comic fabric, yeah. It's got like Spider-Man and some other stuff on it, but yeah. So we have a lot of the interior pieces, the weather stripping, the side mirrors. I mean, it pretty much looks like all of it's there, especially when we add in what's up there, which is like the side skirts, the door panels, the headliner, and all that stuff. So I think we're doing all right. The nice thing about these cars is everything is literally just so freaking cheap on them. Like to buy like secondhand or new or whatever, like, you know, headlights, taillights, bumpers. I mean, you could get like a whole front end from Certifit or off eBay. I think fenders for these things are like 33 bucks or something. Hoods are like 90, or, you know, just stupid cheap for like all this stuff. So that's, I mean, if I've basically, if you guys didn't know, I've had probably about 5 Turbo Hondas in my day. I shared a picture the other day on my Instagram of a black one that I used to have, and I actually have a burnout video on YouTube, and that was kind of shortly before I got rid of it. So I've always been kind of you know, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for Turbo Civics. Honestly, a Turbo Civic was the car that actually got me into like performance stuff and turbocharging and all that type of stuff. I basically had a crotch rocket. I traded it for a Turbo Civic that had basically a fully built D16 in it. Had a bunch of like really good parts in the engine, but not any great good parts like as far as like tuning wise. It was on stock ECU, stock injectors. It basically had like this NASCAR fuel pump in it, and it was running like 80 psi of fuel pressure. So that's it's kind of what made me learn a lot about like the whole hondata thing, and then, you know, actually like injectors and map sensors, and, you know, like intercooler couplers with like the T-bolt clamps. You know, it was just like a bunch of little things, you know, about turbocharging that I didn't understand at all. That getting that car that was kind of put together, but not at the same time, that like researching it, that really just kind of made everything, you know, more so click for me and make it make sense. So after that, I've went through a couple of them, but you know, again, I did not build this one. Basically, just had an issue with the block. It pulled the head stud out of it, pulled the threads out of the block. So I did a big cert on it like 3 years ago when I was building Evo, and then shortly after that, got done with Evo, started working on some other projects. It basically got pushed aside because one of the injectors wasn't working, and I was like, okay. I ended up running across a cheap set of these RC 750s, bought them, threw them in the toolbox, and they sat there for like a year. And then about 2 years ago, when we put this shelf up in here, it's probably like a month before that, I went ahead and I actually got this thing running and kind of put it on there. And then basically the Supra happened at that time, and that's pretty much it. The Supra happened, and we went crazy on that. I think it would be cool to do, you know, 450, 500 at the wheels, and you know, rip around on the street, do some cool stuff. I'm not 100% sure on what exactly to do it, other than I think it'd be cool. That's kind of one of the weird things about, I guess, kind of being like an automotive YouTuber in a sense, is because you need to build cars for content and stuff. And I love building cars. Again, I'll freaking build cars all day, but a lot of times it's like you need a purpose for them, you know. So I'm still trying to find a purpose for this. If anything, it's gonna be to finish it and sell it. So just finish it, get, you know, like a nice 450 horse, 500 wheel single cam, and finish it, drive around for a little bit, make some cool videos, maybe go to the drag strip, do some burnouts on the highway, and then sell it again with the burnouts on the highway. I would like to boost by gear, so it doesn't just spin its face off, because that's what it seems like Civics really like to do once they get over like 350 wheel, especially 400. So you guys let me know what exactly you think I should do. Oh, and also, should I paint the bay? So the bay is kind of this purple color. Obviously, it's not perfect. There is a couple, you know, little imperfections, and it just has years of freaking overspray in it. So it's like I could spend all day trying to get this overspray off, or I could just, you know, spend like 30 minutes, drop the engine out of here, scuff it, and then just respray it the same color as the whole car, whatever color that decides to be, which I haven't decided that yet. So help me with that too. I just actually started this thing, and it started really well. So then I decided I'd pull out the old computer and play with the hondata a little bit. So this is the new computer I got for, not new, but pawn shop computer I got for messing with the stuff on the Supra. But yeah, you can see this is just a really simple base map that is on here, but it's really awesome, all the stuff that Here's your low speed ignition, there's your low speed fuel. Typically you have these switched during like VTEC and non-VTEC and some other stuff. But I haven't played with Hondata in a couple years, but it's really cool, just all the parameters and everything. So I think that I wanted to look in the flex fuel table, so you can see right here, hopefully this isn't doing a bunch of crazy stuff, but so you could actually have, you know, an analog input, and I was looking on the AEM, the flex fuel wideband sensor. I was looking at that, and that's that flex fuel wideband failsafe. I was looking at it, and it actually shows that you could have ethanol content right here. So it says brown analog output, but you could change. See that it says yellow right there. Ethanol content analog output, and that goes from 0 to 5 volts, which is pretty much exactly what this wants right here. So 0 to 5 volts, and it shows your ethanol content percentage. So I'll probably end up doing that and tying that into it. So that'll be really cool. I'll wire in the wideband in here too. So I don't know, it's just really cool. They have a bunch of little options and all that stuff, and I'm kind of stoked to actually be playing with this now that I'm not completely broke and playing with Honda. So I went ahead and I adjusted the. It had a base map in it for like some 1000cc injectors, so I adjusted it for the RC 750s, and then I adjusted the map sensor because it was a like a 5 bar, and I changed it to a 3.5 bar, because that's actually what's in there. So I'm gonna see if it'll start now. Oh, I messed up. Maybe it needs more fuel or something. So I got it to start again. But it kind of seems like it's kind of running a little bit rough. Kind of like it's running on like 3, or maybe it just needs a little bit more. I really need to get a wideband in here so I can actually see what it's doing. So right now I'm just kind of doing blind things. Alright, so now it is running a little bit better, but it's doing the rev up and down idle thing because of the big old vacuum leak right behind the throttle body that I found. And if I stick my hand right here, there's just a really, really big vacuum leak. And so kind of looking at it, I actually think this wiring harness is set up for the Z6 intake manifold, because this is a Y8 throttle body, so it has idle air control right here, whereas this is set up for this, which is this idle air control, which is the Z6 style intake manifold. And the reason I took off that throttle body, the Z6 style, is because you can see it's missing a pin right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and this is it's kind of like a rivet screw thing that's kind of in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off with the Dremel, cut a little slit in it, and I should be able to use a flathead screwdriver, and then steal the TPS off of that throttle body, or maybe I have another throttle body laying around, and then I don't have to buy like another throttle body, and I can make it idle good. Old throttle body is on, and I guess the good throttle body is on it with the, I haven't started it yet, but we'll see. Got the TPS adjusted so it shows 0, and I guess we'll see. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. No check engine light. I need to get rid of this. IAT is probably wrong. I have the sensors plugged in backwards, but it's not throwing a check engine light anymore. There's no air codes. Definitely running a lot better though. I do have two-step enabled on here. The turbo's really not that loud though. Yeah, I really wish this thing had a wideband in it, so I kind of knew exactly what it was doing. Because honestly, if it did, I could at least drive it down the street and hit boost, because this is probably the most like sorted it's been since I've had it. You know, as far as like throttle position sensor, like the head stud actually being in there. I guess the one weird thing that that might be, I'm not sure if that thing actually has timing marks on it or not. Oh, and I guess it's leaking a little bit of oil out of the cam seal up here, which I think I got a new cam seal for it. So maybe what I might do is throw like a stock lower crank pulley on it, and then the stuff, so I could actually set the timing correctly. So that way I know, like, before we start tuning or doing anything, that I set it at like 16 degrees. This head is built. The bottom end is forged and sleeved. I'm not sure, I forgot exactly what pistons and rods and stuff in it, but it does have the dart and open deck sleeves. So this engine like should hold, you know, 600 horse if I decided to push it that far. But oh, it looks like it's leaking a little bit right there from probably this guy. So got a couple little oil leak stuff, but the cooling system seems to be holding pressure. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would like to drive this thing down the street before I go like fully paint it. You know, just so I know that everything's kind of good with the motor and the tranny and all that other stuff. I have driven it down the street before, but I haven't been able to hit any boost. But I won't do that without actually having a wideband in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably order that other sensor. I guess the other thing, I could rob the gauge and stuff out of the gauge and sensor out of the Crown Vic, because that has an AEM X series, and that car's not getting used. But yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy how how simple these Hondas are, and how much fun they are. But yeah, that's probably going to be it for working in this video. I was going to sand the hood and stuff, but or sand the roof and stuff, but it is a little bit late, and I would like to give you guys at least something to watch. But seriously, like, these freaking Hondas like changed my life as far as like the whole tuning, turbo, all that other stuff. Pretty much after I had a Turbo Honda, it was like everything just like stepped up from there, you know. And so if you guys are ever interested in like building your own turbo car or doing something like that, I would definitely recommend getting a Honda. Even if you buy one on Craigslist that's freaking blown up, literally you could go to the junkyard and get some other D series, B series, whatever, slap it in, you know, and make 300 and some horse on a stock engine until you decide to build it or something like that. So I would, you know, anybody, you know, if you have like a, not saying if you have like a Corvette, but I'm saying if you're like younger and you want to get into like tuning vehicles and stuff like that, definitely like a Honda. It's just crazy. But just don't get stuck in the mindset that they're the best cars in the whole entire world. I mean, they are cool, but at the end of the day, they are, you know, an economy car. You know, if you want like a nice fast car or something, I mean, like a BMW like M5 or, you know, something like that, or something like a twin turbo V8 is just, you know, like 20 times the car that this is. This thing might be faster in a straight line when it's all said and done, but I guess when you get older, you want everything, you know. And that's honestly why I really like my Saab, as like a daily driver, because it's quick, it's fast, you know, it's turboed, it's a manual, all that stuff, but it's, you know, it's a factory turbo car, so it's pretty reliable, and you know, it doesn't leak, it doesn't do a bunch of stupid stuff. Like freaking turbo Hondas are interesting. They work, and then sometimes they don't, and they do stupid things. But I would recommend like piecing together a turbo kit versus buying like one of those like cheap, like Chinese like $700 turbo kits. I mean, those will work to get you know most of the way there, but definitely piecing together. You know, get a cheaper manifold if you want like a cast manifold. You know, nice turbo, nice wastegates, all that other stuff. Basically do it if you can afford it. If not, I mean, this thing has all eBay stuff. We'll see how that goes for a little while. But again, guys, appreciate you guys watching, and let me know your thoughts. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully.